Hey friends, welcome. Thanks for joining me here. Today I have a creative Earth Salutations slow sequence for you. Where I am right now, it's the fall season, and with this time, I always like to start to slow down and to start practicing grounding my energy as the seasons start to change and slowly move into winter. And so I hope that you enjoy the practice. We are going to start with a short breathing exercise just to help begin to pull down and ground our energy and sort of settle into our practice. So, as always, find a comfy seat, whatever that means in your body. You can also, as I've always said, sit on a chair, sit up on a block or a blanket to lift your hips above your knees, or you can simply sit on the ground. We're going to start by bringing both hands outside our body and placing them on the ground. Now, if your arms are long enough to place your palm flat on the earth, you are welcome to do that. If your hands don't quite reach, you can tent your fingers and bring just the fingertips to the ground. You're also welcome to bring a block there as well. Anything to kind of lift the earth up to you. And wherever you are, you can begin by closing down the eyes if that feels good, or you can turn them down towards the ground and choose a spot for them to land on. And bring your awareness to your body, and specifically the areas touching the ground. So if you are seated on the earth, you might notice your sit bones. You might bring awareness to your feet or your legs. If you're seated on a couch or a chair, you might notice your sit bones pressing into the seat that you're in. If your hands are on the ground or your seat, go ahead and notice what it feels like to press them firmly down or firmly into the fingertips. No matter where you're seated or where your hands are, just notice which areas are giving you stability, whether they are directly touching the earth or they're a conduit to the earth. Next, begin to bring your awareness to the sensation of the breath in your body. And just notice the inhales and the exhales and what those feel like. Every time I start to practice a grounding practice, I find myself needing to take a few deeper inhales and exhales, pulling the air into the lungs, expanding them in all directions, and slowly letting the air out. This helps begin to ground our prana, or our vital life force energy. Taking a few moments here to bring your awareness to the present moment and also your experience. Wherever you are, release your last exhale here and flutter the eyes open or turn them upward, keeping the hands where they are. We're just going to take a few rolls of the neck, and so we can bring the chin towards the chest and one ear to one shoulder. Chin rolling towards the chest and opposite ear towards opposite shoulder. Moving gently and slowly here, especially if you feel a lot of tension in the neck. Our goal is to slowly unwind those muscles, giving them time to release, being patient with ourselves and with our bodies. Remembering your breath here, noticing, especially as you move into some of those sweet spots, as things start to loosen up, if you hold your breath sometimes, you'll start to notice that. And when you're ready, finish up here and come back towards center. And we're going to take a few side body stretches here. You start on the side that feels best for you. But we're going to lift one arm up and over the head, leaning to the opposite side. Take an inhale towards center here, and we'll exhale coming over to the opposite side. Going as deep or as far as your body will allow. Coming back up here, and we'll just continue stretching to each side. When you come down, really planting that hand firmly into wherever you are and letting that top arm come up and over. We'll inhale towards center and exhale to the opposite side. Repeating this pattern a few times. Inhaling towards center here. The next time your right arm comes up and over, go ahead and leave it there for just a moment. And then release your exhale here. Take an inhale. In exhale, we're going to roll that shoulder down, bringing the arm in front of us. And then we're going to pick it up, bringing the torso back towards center, releasing that right hand to the right shoulder. And we're just going to take some circles with our elbows. You choose the direction you start in. I always like to move it forward and then around and back because if you're like me, as we sit or look at our phones or our computers, we tend to hunch forward. So I like to open that shoulder. Wherever you are, go ahead and switch directions. Moving slowly. Notice the tendency to want to do things quickly. We're going to do this, we're going to get it done, and we're going to check it off like it's on a checklist. And that's not really our experience with yoga. We want to slow down and really be aware and present with our experience. And that means focusing on the in-between space. When you're ready, go ahead and turn the torso, turning that elbow, and release that right hand to the earth, taking a gentle twist here. Now, my left hand, the fingertips are still pressed into the earth, and I'm twisting to the right. If that doesn't feel good, you can simply place your left hand on either knee. If it's on your right knee, you might notice yourself being able to go a little bit deeper into that twist. So you choose here. Coming to your breath. Focusing your eyes or softening them down. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and release towards center. And this time we're going to ground the right hand and lift the left arm up and over. Staying here for just a moment. And then we're going to turn the arm and shoulder down. Inhale that arm up overhead, bringing the torso back towards center, the left hand to the left shoulder. And again, we'll take some circles here. So you decide which direction you go in. Again, coming to the breath. Allowing it to be free and move freely. Wherever you are, option to switch directions. Just getting some mobility in those shoulders before we begin to move into our sequence. When you're ready, we're going to release the elbow and turn behind us, releasing that left hand to the ground. Again, you can stay here with your right hand to the earth or choose a knee for it to land on. Focusing on really grounding that energy down, thinking about letting yourself sink into wherever you are and sinking into the present moment. Release your last exhale here, and on an inhale, gently turn back towards center. We're going to meet in tabletop position on our mats. However you'd like to get there, whatever works best for your body. So we're coming here and our knees are directly underneath our hips. Our hands are underneath our shoulders and our hands are really wide, giving us a nice wide base here, pressing into all corners of those fingers. And if you know where you're going, option to start your cat-cows. We'll inhale together, arching the back, opening the belly towards the ground. Head comes up towards the sky. And then we round the chin towards the chest. Taking these, a few more of these, inhaling, opening up, exhaling, rounding. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, rounding down. I think I do cat-cows in every practice or class. They're just some of my favorites, and they feel the best in my body. You might have some of your own favorite poses too. Now, option to keep going with your cat-cowing, or you can add a little bit on here and take some rolling cat-cows. So we'll inhale, arching the back, and exhale, sit the hips back towards the heels. You might notice your hands walking out a little bit further. The torso and the head come towards the ground. They don't need to touch. On an inhale, we'll come forward, arching the back, and exhaling, rounding the back, letting the low back round against the thighs, bowing down. Inhaling, coming forward, arching the back. Exhaling, coming back. Wherever you are, one more time. Inhaling, coming forward. Arching the back, coming back. Staying in our balasana for just a moment here, wherever you are. Option to take a blanket or your hand or a pillow under your head, or a bolster under your torso to lift the earth up to you. When you're ready, coming up to tabletop position, this time we're going to kick the right leg out to the right. The sole of the foot is going to come to the ground, and there's a slight bend in the right knee, and we're going to just rock back and forth. So I'm sitting my hips back, having them come forward. And what you might notice here is we're starting to get a little bit of stretch into that inner thigh, maybe around the muscles surrounding the knee. We don't want any pain there. So if you're feeling that, go ahead and reduce the angle on the leg and bring it in a little bit more. And just coming forward and back. If you need a little bit more stability, tuck those back toes. You might get a nice little foot stretch as you come forward and back here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and tuck that right foot back in. We're going to sit back, our heels back. So couple options here. Walking the hands back, you can keep the toes tucked and come up onto the knees, bringing the hands to heart center. You can keep the feet tucked and sit your hips back onto your feet. Or you can untuck your feet and sit back, your hips back to your feet. Whatever feels best on your knees. You choose, and it might be different every day. So just listen up to your body. Staying here for just a moment, letting some of that stretching happen around the quad muscles here and around the knees. And then we're going to inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, coming back into tabletop position. Tuck those toes, lift those hips, and we're going to come into a downward facing dog just for a moment here. Maybe you want to take your dog for a walk, bending in one knee and then the other. Take an inhale here, stretch it out, and then exhale, rounding the shoulders over the wrists. We're going to release the knees to the mat again. And we're going to take it to the other side. So we're going to kick our left foot out here. Again, keeping a slight bend into that left knee, just to be gentle on it, and we're going to rock back and forth. Remembering to tuck that back foot if you need a little more stability. Keeping a bend in those elbows as well. Being sure not to lock them out. And just rocking back and forth here. When we're ready, go ahead and tuck that left knee in. And again, you choose your option to sit back. You can walk your hands back and come up onto your knees, hands to heart center. Sit the hips back onto your feet, intense foot stretch, or sitting all the way down, hips to heels. You choose. Release your exhale here. On an inhale, wherever you are, we rise, hips rise, hands rise. And exhale, tabletop position. Now, however you'd like, we're going to start our creative earth salutation flow. So go ahead and find yourself standing however you'd like to get there. Now the top of my mat is up there. I'm standing at the back of my mat, facing forward. So we're going to start at the back of our mats this time. Coming to your Tadasana. So however feels good for you, you can have your feet together, or hips width distance, or even wider. You decide based on your practice, and it might change throughout your practice too. We're in a strong Tadasana here. Our hands are at our center of our heart, rolling the shoulders back, releasing the exhale here. And we'll start our earth salutations. When we're ready, we'll release our exhale. And together, we inhale, keeping the hands together. They're going to come overhead. Exhale, release. They're going to come in front of our body, and we're going to push the energy down in front of us, bending at the knee. Now, option to stay here and walk your hands forward, or option to bend, squatting into the knees and walking your hands forward. Wherever you are, eventually your knees are going to meet the mat in tabletop position. We've been here before. When you get there, another cat-cow, just one. So inhaling, opening, exhaling, rounding in. Coming back to tabletop position, we're going to kick our right leg out to the side, and we're going to heel toe it up into Anjaneyasana. Now, if you want to just swing your leg forward, you're welcome to do that. If you want to be a little bit more gentle in your flow, or if you're having any low back pain, I recommend kicking your foot out first and then heel toeing it up to the top. You choose. We're in Anjaneyasana now. Option to frame the foot with the hands here, or you can come to blocks. You get to choose here. And what we're going to do, framing the foot, our left hand is going to plant into the earth or a block, and we're going to lift our right arm up, twisting towards the sky. Doesn't matter how far it goes, just that you move in that direction, okay? Exhale the right hand down here. Sweeping that right leg back, we're going to come into a child's pose. Sitting the hips back. Torso comes towards the earth. Releasing your exhale here. Inhale, coming forward into tabletop, tucking those toes, sitting the hips back into downward facing dog. Take an inhale here, and then an exhale, bringing the knees down to the earth and walking the hands back towards the knees. Again, 3 options. You come up onto the knees, sit back, or sitting all the way back. Release your exhale. Inhale, hands come overhead. Exhale, now we're going to come into a variation of camel pose. You choose. A few options here. You can tuck your toes. If your hand reaches behind you, that's fine. If you'd like to bring it to a block or a few blocks here, you can, and lift the left arm overhead, wherever you are. Or if you simply want to bring your hand to your hip, lift your left arm overhead. Now, option to take a slight back bend here, but be really careful. What we want to do is reach up first and then reach back. Opening the shoulders, opening the front of the body. Exhale, release that left hand down, right hand down, and we're going to come back to standing at the back of our mats. So you choose. You can come into a forward fold first, or sit back into your squat, and then stand back up. Our hands are going to inhale overhead and exhale to heart center. Take just a moment here. I always like to take a moment in between each sequence just to think about what came up for me. We can set intentions at the beginning of our practice, but reiterating them throughout is also a great way to kind of stay focused. Release the exhale here, and we're going to take it to the other side. When we're ready, we're going to release the hands down, exhaling here. We'll inhale, gathering some of that energy in our space, and exhale, pressing it down, coming into a squat or a forward fold. You choose. Walking the hands forward into tabletop position. Taking a cat-cow here. Inhaling, arching the back, opening the spine. Exhaling, rounding in. Coming to neutral spine, kicking that left foot out to the side and heel toeing it forward, or swinging your foot around into Anjaneyasana. Great place for a block. If you need, you can move your belly or your body inside that left thigh. Planting that right hand, lifting that left arm up towards the sky. Exhale here. Take an inhale, and exhale, left hand right hand, frame the foot, pressing that foot back to meet the right, and sitting the heels back, hips back towards the heels, coming into child's pose. On our next inhale, we're going to come forward. We're going to tuck those toes and sit the hips up towards the sky, coming into a down dog. Exhale here. Inhale here. And take an exhale, rounding the shoulders over the wrists, bringing the knees towards the earth. We're going to walk our hands back towards our knees, and you choose your version of camel here. We're going to come up onto our knees. Your left hand will find where it's going to be placed. Hip, block, foot. Okay? If you want, you can untuck your feet too if that's available in your body to lean that far back. I invite you to choose what's most compassionate in your body and also a challenge. So we have to work up to those things. Wherever you are, place your left hand where it's going to go. Right arm comes up overhead. Slight back bend here. Exhale. Both hands come down. And we're going to find ourselves standing at the back of our mat one more time. When you get there, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment here. What came up for you? Do you want your body to be somewhere different than it is? Are you proud of yourself for doing this practice? What came up? The more we can notice our tendencies and check in with ourselves, the more we can ground that energy down. We're going to try that one more time on each side. We're going to move just a little bit faster, more with our breath here, just to make it feel a little bit more flowy. If you want to slow it down, you know the sequence now, option to take it as slow as you'd like. When we're ready, we'll release our hands to our side, exhaling our air out. We'll inhale, gather all of that energy. Exhale, pressing it down towards the ground, squatting or coming forward into our forward fold. Walking the hands forward, tabletop position, take a cat-cow. Inhaling, exhaling. Find your right foot at the top of the mat in Anjaneyasana. Planting the left hand, lifting the right towards the sky. Exhaling, both hands come down, sweep that right foot back and sit the hips back into Balasana. One exhale here. Inhale, coming forward into tabletop, tuck those back toes, lift the hips into downward facing dog. On an exhale, we're going to bring the knees back where they were. We're going to walk the hands back, choosing your version of camel. Coming up onto the knees, left arm comes up to the sky. Exhale, left hand comes down, coming back, standing to the top of our back of our mat. When we get there, we'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. A few breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. Wherever you are, go ahead and release your hands to the side. One last time on the left, we'll do this. When we're ready, we'll inhale our arms together. Again, pressing that energy down, thinking about pushing it down towards the ground. Walking the hands forward into tabletop, taking your cat-cow here. This time we come to neutral spine, sweeping that left foot forward into Anjaneyasana. Right hand plants, left hand turns up towards the sky. Exhale here, hands come to the mat, left foot sweeps back to meet the right, Balasana, bringing the hips to the heels, head to the earth. Take an exhale here. Inhale, coming forward into tabletop, tucking those toes and lifting those hips to downward facing dog. Exhale here. Take an inhale and then exhale, knees to the earth, walking the hands back. Lifting up, we'll come into our version of camel. Left hand plants where it'll plant, right arm up and over. Exhale here. Walking our hands back, we're going to come into our squat or uttanasana. We're going to rise one last time. Exhale, hands to heart center. Wherever you are, come to seated. We'll take a few last moment poses just to help cool down the body. Coming here where you are, we'll stretch our feet long out in front of us, maybe moving any fleshy parts away so our sit bones can sit directly on the ground, or option to sit up onto a blanket or something to lift your hips up. Wherever you are, we're going to forward fold over our front legs. So whatever works for your body here. Similar to when we were standing and folding forward, we want to choose what works best for our body. Some of us are able to put our feet together here. Some like at hip width distance, and then option to even go wider. You decide what works best for your body. If you want a little bit more room for your body to fit in between your legs, I invite you to find a wider leg position here. Wherever you are, we're going to lift our hands up overhead, and we're going to begin to bow forward, leading with the heart, hinging at the hip, so our back stays straight. We're going to lean forward, and wherever we can't keep our spine straight anymore, we're going to stop. We're going to release our hands, staying there, and we're going to release our head. This helps protect the spine, keeping it long and straight, while at the same time forward folding over those front legs. Taking a few inhales and exhales here wherever you are. And when we're ready, we're going to walk our hands back, lifting our torso up and coming into Baddha Konasana. So both feet are going to come together in front of the body. They can be as far away from the body or as close to the body as you'd like. You choose. Knees will come out to the side. Same thing here, friends. Option to stay here if that feels good, rolling the shoulders back, straight spine. Or you can fold forward, leading with the heart. Again, hinging at the hips. So only go as deep as is available in your body. What we see of modern yoga today, especially in the West, is, people doing all kinds of acrobatics with their bodies. And that's cool. What our bodies can do is really cool, right? I'm always amazed sometimes at what my body is capable of. And it's also okay to meet your body where it is every day. There's no such thing as the perfect pose. All we can do is be gentle with ourselves, challenge ourselves, and let ourselves be where we are each day. You're not better at yoga or worse at yoga just because you can't fold all the way forward and touch your head to the ground. Just a reminder. Are you able to come to your breath? Are you able to stay present with your experience? And can you bring these things off your mat with compassion and kindness to give them to the world as well? That's yoga. Wherever you are, go ahead and rise up. Now from here, I invite you to take a final Shavasana. I really recommend not skipping it. It's one of the best parts of our practice. It helps end this cycle of our practice and really allows all of what we learned on our mats to sort of integrate into our bodies. It's really, some people say, the most important pose. So I invite you to take your Shavasana here for as long as you'd like and make yourself comfortable. As always, thank you so much for joining me and practicing with me. May you be well.